Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Mehmet Tulbek. I'm the president of the Saskatchewan Food Industry Development Center, and welcome to our webinar today. Today, we celebrate the World Pulses Day, February 10th, 2020. 2020 has been designated as the first World Pulses Day by United Nations and Food and Agriculture Organization. And since then, every year, we've been celebrating the World Pulses Day around the world by conducting different cooking shows, meetings, events, presentations, technical or marketing or different type of webinars. And in today's webinar, we wanted to talk about pulses and snack innovation, how important they are for the food industry. So with that, I'd like to start my presentation with a quick outline. In today's webinar, I'll be talking about World Pulses Day, a brief introduction about pulse crops. We'll go through a composition of pulses, and we'll talk about history of pulses and pulse consumption. We'll talk some of the data about global pulse production and regions, and we'll talk about the growth in snack food industry. Then we'll have a quick intro to the history of pulses and snack foods, which is going back to last 4,000 years. And then we'll be talking about the different segments of the use of pulses in whole snacks, in baked snacks, in direct expanded snacks, in third generation snacks. Then we'll talk about the food center capabilities, and we'll conclude with the future of pulses and the pulse ingredients in the snack food industry. So World Pulse Day is a designated United Nations global event to recognize the importance of pulses. It's been proclaimed on February 10th of each year since 2019 and by the General Assembly of the United Nations on December 20th, 2018. This celebration is a recognition of the decisive role that pulses can play in achieving the comprehensive, far-reaching, and people-centered set of universal and transformative goals and targets of the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Pulse crops have a lower carbon footprint than most of the foods produced because they require a small amount of fertilizer to grow. And they also have a lower water footprint, and they are adapted to semi-arid conditions and can tolerate drought stress in certain areas. But it's not only the sustainability factor. Pulses are like superfoods. They are inexpensive, easy to store, highly nutritious, and their ability to enhance the soil microbiome has been key in improving the farming techniques in low-income rural areas. But most importantly, when we talk about this, it's really a superfood when we can deliver a significant amount of protein, dietary fiber, minerals, in particular potassium and other micronutrients. So the World Pulses Day provides an opportunity to raise awareness about the nutritional benefits of pulses as part of sustainable food production with the aim of enhancing food security and nutrition. And basically, since the announcement of the 2016 of the International Year of Pulses, we are basically going through several activities and around the globe talking about more and more pulses to create more awareness about this crop. When we look at the different market classes of pulses, they come from the legume family, the Fabaceae family species. And when we look at the legumes, they refer to the plants with fruits, seeds enclosed in a pod, and then include about more than 600 genera and more than 13,000 species. So when we look at the legumes, food legumes, they fix nitrogen into the soil, which reduces the need for chemical fertilizer. But within the legume family, there's oilseeds, there's vegetables, there's also some forage crops. So pulses, they are part of this family. It's basically classified by United Nations FAO back in the last 50s as from the Latin word pulse, meaning thick soup, porridge word. And basically, they provide this edible seeds of plants in the legume family. Typically, the pulses, which is under the market class, is basically they are quite high in starch. They are carbohydrate rich. They generate some gel, and they are high in protein. So if you continue the classification of the FAO classifies pulses under 11 categories. And within these 11 categories, we are looking at dry beans, dry broad beans, which is fava beans, dry peas, chickpeas, dry cowpeas, pigeon peas, lentils, bambara, groundnuts, which lupins, and there are some other minor pulses within the edible bean category. It's a total of 57 types, 57 to 60 types, which is under 11 categories. And if you look at that, basically they are non-GM. They provide gluten-free, low allergen type of marketing. And it's a major source of energy, providing carbohydrate, dietary fiber, protein, and minerals with very high nutrient digestibility. If you look at the composition, as we can see, pulses, they are quite high in carbohydrates. It's depending on the market class, it's about 37 to 50% starch. And typically, out of this starch, 35% is amylose, 65% amylopectin. It has about 13 to 22% fiber within a range of dietary fiber, galacto-oligosaccharides, as well as crude fiber. About 21 to 35% protein. The protein levels can be quite high in lupins and fava beans and tend to be slightly lower in peas, lentils, and chickpeas, in an average from 21 to 24, 25%. And the rest, we have some compounds like simple sugar, sucrose, about 2.5%. And fat is quite high in lupins, can be between 11 to 13%, and chickpeas about 5 to 7%. And there's about 3% in the pulse crops, which are quite high in terms of iron, zinc, selenium, potassium, magnesium, phosphorus, and calcium. So when we look at the history of the pulses, there's some information here. Really, what I like to talk about, it goes back to the last 7,000 to 8,000 years. In terms of documentation, we have information going back to the Roman Empire. Basically, there is some documentation talking about if there are certain crops can grow in these poor soils, and that basically information going back to the pulses. And they are quite inextricably linked to the first civilizations, primarily in the Hittites or Syrians, or a different type of early generation civilizations coming back from the last 4,000 to 7,000 years ago, primarily in the region of Fertile Crescent, the present-day Iraq, Syria, as well as in Turkey. So if you look at some of the information, the chickpeas and the fava beans and edible beans, primarily from South America, there's quite a bit of information about the pulse crops in terms of domestication, cultivation, as well as utilization information. And then as we move it into more the 18th, 16th, 17th, 18th century, the colonialism made a major impact on the revolution. For the first wave of pulse evolution in the 16th century, edible beans introduced to Europe, Africa, and Asia. Then the peas introduced to North America from Asia and Europe. And then there's been additional, more scientific studies conducted on genetical and classification and taxonomy studies. And then there's some more work done on the early food preservation studies, especially in canning and the preservation of these food products. But the main innovation really started in the late 70s as we looked at the adaptation of the drill layer seeders and this whole lactic innovation coming with this no-till farming. It really changed the things globally, primarily in North America. It really helped increase the farm income because we reduced the rotations. Summer fallow acres reduced, and the rotational benefits of these pulse crops significantly well established, especially in the northern tiers of US and Western Canada and other parts of the world, Australia, and so forth. So the last 10 to 15 years, United Nations really recognized the importance of these pulses in food, health, and sustainability after declaring 2016 as the International Year of Pulses. We are looking at right now in 2024 about 97 million metric ton of pulse production. And in the next couple of years, there's been some predictions that the production may go all the way to 110, 115 million metric ton, depending on the market growth and the interest. If you look at the major pulse producers in the world, primarily we start with North America, northern tier states in the United States and Western Canada, parts of Ontario and Quebec, South America, primarily East Africa. Then we are looking at Russia, Ukraine, that entire Middle East region, South India, and China, and Australia. But if you look at overall these countries, the major exporters are Canada, and then in the Black Sea region, Russia, Ukraine, and Australia. These are the major exporters of the pulse crops, as well as the United States. They do, depending on their production and the needs in their domestic markets as well. So then I'd like to talk more about the global snack food industry. If you look at some of the numbers and the growth of this segment, snack food market amounts about $270 billion of market about in 2025. And in the next 5 years, it's expected to grow annually about 6% per year. And the global comparison, when we look at it, most revenue is generated in the United States, which is about $53 billion. And if you look at the population figures and per person revenue, it's basically creating about $35 per revenue per capita per person in the world. And it's really a growing market, and the people, they're consuming more and more snacks with the changing lifestyles and with the changing demographics. And the more on the go lifestyle, the more the changing work lifestyles, it's basically affecting the consumers to consume more and more snacks. And if you look at the volume, we are looking at in 2030, predicting to be about 47 billion kilogram of the snack food market. So that's a really huge number, and it expects to show a year after year growth in the global food marketplace. So if you look at the average volume per person in the snack food market, our consumption is about 5.2 kilogram of snack consumption per year, which is like quite significant. And as we see more and more population growth, changing demographics, and the changing consumer habits, this is becoming a really very important area for the consumers to address. So here I like to talk about some of the historical use of pulses in the snack foods. And when we basically research this, if you go back the last 5,000 to 6,000 years, really the main product that we see is this roasted chickpea called leblebi. The roasted chickpea product, basically, it's originated from Persian word. Leblebi word is originated from Persian word. And it's a traditional snack food in Turkey, in Mediterranean region, and the Middle East, being consumed still at the moment with different formats. It can be a dehulled version, it can be a non-dehulled version. And this product is basically produced with a cleaning, grading, soaking, tempering, which is a preheating and resting process, and then followed with a boiling, resting, roasting, dehulling, and a continuous roasting process. In some cases, this product can be roasted up to 13 to 14 days before it reaches to the marketplace, because it has a very interesting soft texture. And then it's more like a niche, kind of a unique product that provides that particular texture to the region. So there are several cities are quite famous producing this product in Iran, in Turkey, and other parts of the Balkans. And overall, it's receiving a very unique regional interest as a product. But when we look at the evolution of this product, this type of product, as it changed more and more, evolution, it affected the overall consumer impact and the consumer behaviors in different countries. So if you look at the type of products right now in the pulses and the snack foods, if you look at different categories, we can see that there are mainly 3 to 4 different market classes. The first one is the whole pulse snack, which we see as a roasted chickpea or a fried green pea type of products. And there are some examples from the marketplace. Tree Farmers would be a really great example to show. And then there are several South Asian and some North American products that you can see as wasabi peas in the marketplace. Then we go to the baked snacks. There are several products that we can look at here: crackers and cookies and brownies. And then the fried baked chips like Benito's bean chips or a Breton cracker type of products there in the marketplace. And the last one is the extruded snacks, whether it's a direct expanded product or pelletized or fried and baked third generation snack. This is another alternative for the snack application. So we'll be talking about some of these products and examples from the marketplace. So the first one is the pulses in the whole snacks. If you look at the whole snacks, the pulses can be produced by different roasting technologies, and the really perfect examples are like roasted favas or roasted lentils from the Tree Farmers product, and there are several versions of these products that you can find in North America, whether produced with chickpeas, lentils, or the peas. If you look at the fried version, this is basically a really South East Asian and Japanese Asian type of innovation being produced again hundreds of years, primarily fried with the palm oil in the region. But when it comes to North America, there is like safflower oil, canola oil, different type of products are being used. Primary market classes used in this type of product are yellow peas, green peas, as well as the marrow fat peas. Then when we get into the pulses in the baked snacks, primarily the applications that we can see is really a sheeting, baking process, or sheeting like a frying type of process. There are several applications that we see with the edible beans. One particular example is the bonitos from the marketplace that there are examples like a white bean, which is a navy bean, or a Great Northern bean, or a black bean or a pinto bean type of flours are being used in these applications. And looking at also crackers, cookies, and brownies. Again, looking at Singapore and Chinese markets, there's quite a bit of innovation there with the green pea cookies, whether it's a specialty product being utilized in the marketplace in certain holidays or in seasons. But these type of products are coming to North America and other parts of the world as well. So these are some of the examples that we can see the pulses in the baked snack applications. When we talk about the pulses in the direct extruded snacks, there are like so many examples and there's so much innovation happening. And if you look at some of the types and shapes from crisps to loops, bowl shapes, stars, wavy chips, puffs, and flatbreads, we can produce a range of products in this segment. And these products are typically direct expanded, baked, coated, or direct expanded, coated, and baked, or can be direct expanded, coated, or fried. Several different versions of these products can be found in the marketplace. So if you look at this particular segment, and these are some examples that the Food Center we developed with different formulations. In general, we can see products like corn kernels or shells or different type of products. We can formulate them with a range of nutritional benefits and textures. We can increase the protein level, we can decrease the protein level, we can increase the fiber level, we can increase the expansion, or we can reduce the expansion, we can change the size. So these products can be blended with different cereal ingredients or different type of other ingredients as well. And in terms of coating and the flavor, we can bring a range of various flavorings in these products. So the innovation is completely, the overall combinations are endless. And based on the consumer interest, based on the consumer insights, what they are looking for, there are so many products coming into the marketplace in this segment. And if you look at some of the products, the early versions of the products, is primarily these products came from Japan and Asian marketplace. You can see a lot of products in the marketplace still with the green peas. They can be as harvest snaps or peas or different products from Thailand or Philippines or Japan from that region. Typically, a green pea flour is used in these products. Sometimes a yellow pea flour with different type of spinach powders or other type of products can be generated these type of applications. But the main thing is the overall pot shape, the pea shape, and that whole natural clean label type of product is really driving the market with the higher protein. You have to remember a pea flour is about 22 to 24% after dehulling, And with the additional ingredients, these products can be like quite high in terms of protein, and with the right expansion and differentiation, getting quite a bit of interest and growth in the marketplace. If you look at some of the North American and European examples, there are several examples, and Indian examples. There are several products that you can see in the marketplace. This sun chips with a yellow pea, kurkure with a chickpea, hippies with chickpea, pitos is with pea and lentils, combination, several ingredients. And this lentil pasta from Italy, it's with lentils primarily. So these ingredients, whether it's a pulse flour or pulse starches, or combination of the pulse flours and proteins or the fibers, they give us the complete flexibility and that whole innovation pipeline to address the needs for the snack food businesses globally. And they bring a different type of texturization, different expansion, different taste, different flavor, and go to market effort. So with these different ingredients, we can address the needs of the markets with different demographics or different regions and different taste flavor expectations. If you look at some of the private label growth, this is a really new product from Turkey I just brought. This is a Carrefour veggie product. It's a complete private label product from the Turkish marketplace, and it's really selling well. In the last couple of months, they basically produced this as a bowl chickpea shape, or again the pot shape, or different type of products. And the more and more we are seeing the growth of these applications in the private label too. Not only the branded products, but we are seeing the pulses more and more in the private label applications, addressing the needs of the consumers, and then addressing the needs of the grocery chains with different price points and different penetrations into the market. So in terms of the third generation snacks, this type of product is like quite unique, and there are some examples here, but mostly in Europe. This type of product it typically is produced with a snack extruder, very similar to pasta extruder, by using mixing, hydrating, cooking, sheeting, forming, and the drying process. And then after we make the pellet, that pellet can be shipped all around the world and can be produced into a snack by a frying process or direct expansion, more like an oven baking process, or with a microwave process. So there are several examples of it, and there are some products coming into this marketplace, but primarily the ingredients we use here is potato and tapioca, because it's really those ingredients are important to deliver the expansion and the unique needs of these products. But pulses can be added like from 5-10% up to 40-50%, depending on the type of formulation and the end use. But this is another product because it brings a certain texture and a certain consumer differentiation, and that's another market that we are seeing some growth. So with that, like what we can do at the food center, we have a major extrusion program, and we have several capabilities at 3 certified food processing facilities at the food center. I'd like to talk about some of our capabilities on our extrusion programs and what we can offer in the salt pulses and the snack food applications. Food center provides from product development to processing, fermentation, engineering services, with pathfinding services, food safety, with a range of applications and programs for the food industry, from startups to SMEs to larger companies. But extrusion is really a very important program we have, and we have 5 extruders with different capabilities and with different contract research and contract manufacturing capabilities. So if you look at our extrusion program, we have a combined extrusion experience from a contract research, contract manufacturing, and to be supported with different parts of the programs. We have R&D and commercial extrusion programs, and utilizing plant-based ingredients in legumes, cereals, rice, quinoa, with the snack foods, with breakfast cereals, texturized proteins, with TVP, high moisture extrusion applications, with pet food, confectionery, microencapsulation, with ingredient modification and byproduct utilization. So we can go through from a startup all the way to the manufacturing as a vertical integration partner for the extrusion process. So we have two Klextral systems, a Klextral Evolum 32 millimeter with a 32 millimeter screw diameter, and then also another Klextral Evolum 44 millimeter, which we can use it for our production capabilities. We have two barrel configurations, whether we can do 6 barrel on 10 barrel with different length to diameter ratio capabilities with this 44 millimeter system. So if you look at our capabilities, we can produce different puffs. These puffs, we can do 8 to 10 formulations a day. For each formulation, we need about 15 to 20 kg per formulation, and about 5 kilogram final product can be collected at the end of each run. If you look at our crisps, we can produce 8 to 10 formulation for crisps, about 20 to 25 kilogram per formulation, and again 5 to 10 kg final product to be collected within this process. In terms of texturized proteins, we can produce about 35 to 40 kg per formulation, about 10 kg final product to be collected with our texturized protein programs. If you look at high moisture extrusion, we can do about 10 to 15 kilogram final product to be collected, again, 6 to 8 formulations per day. So this is another opportunity and capability for the food center to help the industry. In terms of plant-based pet food, this is another segment. We can help 6 to 8 formulas per day, about 15 to 20 kg per formulation. And per each formula, we can produce about 10 kg final product. So if you look at our complete capabilities from a 32 millimeter going into the production scale, it depends on the type of product, but we can go in the manufacturing side from 1 to 6, 1 to 8 times in the production level and help the companies accordingly. And in terms of post-extrusion, we have drying, toasting, sifting, shredding, coating, and robing, and cooling, chilling, and freezing capabilities, which we can help the companies scale up, manufacture, produce their products accordingly within different innovation and research activities. In terms of packaging, whether it's a dry product, we can basically pack these products in bulk, vacuum packaging, nitrogen flush, and we can also have that capability with the vertical form filler with the stand-up pouch capabilities. So these are also additional capabilities we can help the companies to manufacture and produce. So when we look at the future of the pulses and the pulse ingredients, really it's going to be very important to address the needs of the consumers, what they are interested, what they like. And again, if you look at the evolution of the hummus business coming from 1990s, what we are looking at now in 2025, the entire North American hummus market, global hummus market, it became a household item for each family that they are basically consuming this once or twice a month. And the overall growth in this type of product, we are going to be seeing more and more in the snacks. And the most important thing here in the snack business to support the pulse industry will be the valorization and functionalization of these pulse starches, carbohydrates, flours in high value ingredients and products, whether it's in the food or different applications, and looking at this whole continuous valorization and functionalization of the pulse proteins to address the snack, different applications on the food or different applications on the feed and so forth. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your attention, and we'll be glad to answer your questions at the end. And I see we have a couple of questions here. I'll put the screen back to. So do we have any cooling die for the Klextrals? Yes, we have the cooling die for the Klextrals. Basically, with the high moisture meat analog systems, we have that capability, and then basically provide the cooling capability for the companies per their needs. In terms of defatting process, we don't have exactly a solvent extraction system. We have Comet mill comet fat kind of separator system, comet press, that we can take some of the soft seeds, separate the oils from the soft seeds, which basically gives us that capability to take that 40-45% oil down to 12 to 13%. But we don't have that capability for like complete oil extraction, like a solvent extraction, alcohol-based or ethanol or ether or hexane-based extraction. We don't have that capability here. The next question is, do we have access to some of the IRAP funding for R&D? That's correct. We have a partnership with NRC IRAP starting April 1st. That's something that we can help the companies with that. Please reach out to me or to our teams. We'll be glad to support you, because the IRAP partnership and our partnership in NRC IRAP really helps the startup to move forward and to help them with their innovation needs to scale up, to manufacture, and to move forward in their production needs. So that's available, that we have the partnership with the NRC IRAP, which we can help. In addition, we have a PDP program, product development program. It's a reimbursement funding through SCAP. It's basically through a Ministry of Agriculture in Saskatchewan. For that to be eligible, you have to be operating and basically present in the province of Saskatchewan. The next question is, do you support R&D projects in Europe or UK? Yes, certainly. We can help. We have done work globally, internationally. We'll be glad to support projects in Europe as well as in UK. Sometimes the timeline, the time zone can be an issue, but like right now with UK, we have 6 hours, in Europe, 7 hours. So with the conference calls, follow-ups, we have total of 5 extruders here with a single screw, a Kurkuri extruder, 2 additional other extruders with 63 millimeter and a 75 millimeter, and with Klextral 32 and 44 millimeter. So it's a complete, almost as an extrusion center of excellence from snacks to pet food and all the different applications. So we'll be glad to support you with that. The next one is thank you very much for the presentation. Earlier, you mentioned some snack products from the Philippines. May I know if you tried using rice, coconut as ingredients mixed with pulses? I have experience when I was working for the university, doing some work back at North Dakota State University at that time. It is possible. You can combine rice and pulses together, and then you can use coconut as part of the coating system. That's quite typical. But instead of coconut, they still use more palm oil in those applications. Palm is the typical ingredient they use in those marketplaces. Let me go to the chat box. I think there's some questions here. Okay, all good. Can you make flat chips or crackers? Yes, that's also another capability. By direct expanded, we have certain dies. We can make those flatbread cracker type of applications. For those applications, it's important to control the expansion, the starch content, and the expansion of that product in particular is important. By using different screw profiles and coming with the right system, it's important to come up with the right applications with that. But that's another area that we can support the companies. If you have any interest, please do reach out to me at the end of this presentation. My email is here, and this is our Food Center email. If you have any questions, please do reach out, and we'll be glad to provide the presentation or answer your questions. And if you like to work with us, we'll be glad to support your innovation and project needs. With that, thank you very much. I'd like to again emphasize all of you, please join the pulses and cook a different type of cans or chickpeas or lentils or fava beans or different type of products, or try some snacks from the marketplace and enjoy the World Pulses Day today and this week. Thank you, and wishing you a great day.